Hello, everyone. I'm recording this testimonial about a healing which Karim Hemani did for one of my medical conditions. Uh, I am Aziz Peppermintwala. I'm around 50 years of age and I live in Virginia, United States. I work professionally as a software engineer. Around 15 years back, uh, I was diagnosed with a condition which is called polycythemia vera. So the way it started was before I was diagnosed, I used to have frequent headaches, and the way I was trying to treat myself at that point was by using painkillers over the counter to make my headaches subside. But it turned into something very severe. At one point, I remember I was on a flight uh, and the weather turned bad, and the flight had to land in a different city. And during the flight, my headache became so severe that when it landed in the on the airport, I guess on the runway, I told the staff that I have a medical emergency. I need to get off. I cannot wait for this flight to continue after the weather uh, problem is resolved. And they actually took me off the flight. That's how severe my headache actually had got to. And a few days after that incident, I went to the doctor. They ran checks on me, and they diagnosed me with this condition, which is called polycythemia vera. So what happens in this is it is a form of cancer where the cell production for your blood cells uh, goes out of control. The blood cells, as you might know, get produced in the bones, in the bone marrow, and the bone marrow continues to overproduce blood cells. It goes out of control, and that reduces the flow of the blood, the fluidity of the blood, and it needs to be treated. Otherwise, the blood flow can actually slow down to a level where it can block either the heart or the brain blood circulation and lead to incidents like stroke or heart attack. So I was lucky that I got diagnosed in time, and at that time, the initial treatment which they wanted to do was to draw blood out of my body every couple of days. I would have appointments like sometimes 3 times a week, sometimes 2 times a week, where they would call me into the phlebotomy center. Phlebotomy is the process to remove blood out of a person. Uh, and they would check my levels and draw out one unit of blood, which they use for, the way when you go to a blood donation, that's how much you can safely remove 1 unit of blood out of a person. And this blood would have to be discarded. They cannot reuse it to give it to any other patient. So that was the form of treatment that the doctor prescribed, considering my age at that level. And the other treatment was a daily pill for blood thinner, a small dose of aspirin to keep the blood thin. So I continued doing this for several years, and then at one point, I had a change in doctor, and the new doctor wanted to switch me to a more aggressive treatment plan, which was chemotherapy to kill the blood cells using strong chemicals which you use for cancer. And along with that would come all the side effects like things like hair loss and losing your sense of taste. These were all the known side effects that I was made aware of, and at that point, uh, I had spoken to Karim Hemani, who agreed to do healings for me, and he advised me to hold off on the aggressive treatment with chemotherapy drugs, and I began going through healing sessions with Karim. So this was around 4 years back that the healing was started by Karim, and he would do regular sessions with me to heal every time there's a change uh, in symptoms or any uh, change that I notice in my regular doctor's visits. So I was on frequent doctor visits where they would monitor my blood levels, sometimes monthly, sometimes once every 2 months, to check if it's staying in a safe range of the blood cells. So they would check for red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and also for the fluidity level of the blood, how fluid it is. Is it turning into solid, almost solid, and something which would not flow? So those measurements were constantly on. With the healings Karim Bhai did over the years, I was able to notice that the graphs were going low without any other treatments, without any chemotherapy treatments. My counts were starting to gradually show a downward trend. They were not increasing. And over the last 4 years, there came a point where Karim had an upgraded version of the healing, and he applied that healing on me. And on that day, he said, you can discontinue all other treatments. So I was still using the small dose of aspirin daily to keep my blood thinned. At that point, I stopped that medication. And I had already stopped the phlebotomy process where you draw blood out of the patient to keep their blood cells at a low count. So this final healing was done around, I would say, 2 years back. And after that, I have not experienced any adverse effects, no symptoms, no new symptoms, or no recurrence of my old symptoms of like severe headache, which I used to experience. Uh, and I consider myself fully healed. I have a medical appointment coming up in a few weeks for routine doctor's checkup, annual health check, and I'm pretty certain when they measure my levels, it will show a very lowered uh, lowered count, like a disease-free patient. So this has been my experience with the healing that Karim Hemani did. I'm really happy to share my experience with all of you who are listening. Thank you very much.